We had to reinvent ourselves every 10 years or so.
Now, when it comes to skills, you can categorize them into three buckets essentially.
Things are going to be so different. Whatever we teach in terms of knowledge is no more.
Students and parents are thinking, where can I go where I get a quicker return on my investment? There are 3 or 4 game changers that will really transform Dubai over the next 10 years. How is AI being used at your university?
They need to be a little more innovative and creative.
I think you've got to understand how the world works today.
Hello everyone, welcome to Beyond Boundaries, conversations beyond the classrooms, a MAHE Dubai initiative where we bring together voices that are shaping the future of education, not just within lecture halls, but across the UAE's vision for tomorrow. I'm your host, Sophia Anjam, and today's episode is all about how education is fueling the UAE's journey towards Vision 2030. I would say creating a generation that's not just degree ready, but future ready as well. It's our first ever podcast, so show us some love. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, joining me are 2 people who live and breathe this mission. And ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I would like to introduce a thought leader and higher education advisor whose work has helped shape policy, quality, and collaboration across the UAE's academic landscape from the lens of the government. Director of University Ratings at Knowledge and Human Development Authority, MBA in Strategic Management, and a doctorate education from the University of Bath in Higher Education Management, Dr. Nitesh Sughnani. Welcome. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here. I was just thinking, I have so many memories with Manipal University. I was actually here at the opening of the university, so I was just looking back at some pictures before I drove in. And also worked with the university when they were at their previous campus. So yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
So with us, ladies and gentlemen, I've got somebody I truly admire, I respect, and he's an individual who's redefining what modern learning looks like through innovation, sustainability, and digital transformation. Vice Chancellor, MAHE Dubai, PhD from Department of Management Studies, Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, and guess what? 22 years of experience in the Army, domain expertise in industrial engineering, operations research, inventory control, and HR, presenting Dr. Sudhindra Shamana. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, and wonderful to be here. It's a great pleasure. I've been with Manipal for last 3 plus years, and Manipal has been here in Dubai for 25 years. And it's great to be representing Manipal at this podcast. Thank you.
So I think I'll just begin with the first question. So if you had to celebrate and define UAE's education journey in one word, which word would you choose? I think I'll start with Dr. Nitesh.
Yeah, thank you. Great question. For me, I think the word is transformative. Very similar to Dubai. We've seen, I've been in Dubai most of my life. So that's over 35 years. Really seen the city transform from what it was, a real desert, today into a world-class city.
Absolutely.
And I think the same applies to the education sector. So we started 2003 with Dubai Knowledge Park or Dubai Knowledge Village, and it's been just 20 plus years. And we've really transformed from being a center just for access, where we had a few universities, to today a world-class education sector. We have amongst the highest number of branch campuses in the world, institutions from so many different countries, including Manipal. But we're also now getting students from all over the world. So we're not just a hub for institutions, but also a hub for students. You have 35% of our student population that come from abroad for the purpose of education. So yeah, truly transformative. And I would also say that, as we look ahead, we also want to move from just being a city of students, but also to one that's developing research, innovation, entrepreneurship. So yeah, my word would be transformative.
Transformative. I absolutely love that. Well, I mention one thing always. Whatever the world does, UAE does it better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think 1 year in Dubai is like 5 or 6 years in any other country.
Yes.
We just move at such a rapid pace, and we're blessed to be here.
100%, I agree. Yes. So, which word would you choose and why?
I think I'll go with visionary. The reason is it's extraordinary what UAE has done it in larger context. But if you look at what it has achieved in terms of being an educational hub, it's been at least it's in top 6 or 7 countries in Asia itself. I think it has the highest number of the international branch campuses by far.
Right.
And then all these are excellent institutions, world-class institutions. The students get a choice of their education, be it Australian, Indian, or UK, or anything. it has also done very well in terms of rankings. If you take QS rankings, yes, China will have more number of large number of institutions within top 500, but UAE, being a small country, has still about 5 or 6 UAE universities within the top 500. That's phenomenal. No other country of this size has that kind of thing within Asia. It's visionary. They've set out a very, very far-reaching vision, and then they've achieved it in a very, very short time.
100%. I love the words that your gentlemen have used. I think it's more like an educational buffet. Right? You have a bit of everything also that caters to a lot of people. So now diving straight in, I'd like to start with you, Dr. Nitesh. So Dubai's higher education sector is evolving rapidly alongside national strategies like E33 as well. So from a government perspective, what major shifts are shaping the next phase of higher education right here in the UAE?
I mean, when we do anything within the government, within each department, it always links back to Dubai's overall plan. So in 2023, Dubai launched something called the Dubai 2033 Agenda. There's an economic agenda and a social agenda. Within the economic agenda, Dubai wants to be amongst the top 3 cities in the world. It also wants to double GDP over the next 10 years. So from that, we developed what's called the Education 2033 strategy. This is something that KHDA announced last year in 2024. And attached to that, we also launched a series of game changer initiatives. Now, the key thing that's changed between this strategy and the previous work that we had done is we realized in talking to our stakeholders, so our Director General, Her Excellency Aisha, she held a 100-day stakeholder engagement session where she talked to parents, students, institutions, industry, government. And I think the key message was that KHDA needed to shift from an institutional regulator to a student-centered regulator. So right at the heart of the education strategy is that it's student-centric.
Correct.
We also changed the way we call the different life stages. So we were a typical agency and we used early childhood and schools and higher ed and vocational, but we've now gone to a system where it's more transitional. You know, you have pathways between early childhood and schools, between schools and vocational or universities, and then into lifelong learning essentially. If I focus on higher ed, you know, there are 3 or 4 game changers that will really transform Dubai over the next 10 years. And we'll explore some of these through the podcast today. But just to name them, we've got one that's called the City of Students. And this really revolves around the entire student journey. If I'm a student looking to study in Dubai, where do I look for information? How do I get a visa? What do I do with medical insurance? Where do I find student accommodation? How do I pick my course? What happens when I graduate? You know, how do I get a job? How do I continue to live in Dubai? So that's the first game changer. We've got another game changer called the Higher Ed Strategic Reform. There we're developing a new higher ed strategy. We're focusing largely on the student experience. We're also working very closely with the Ministry of Higher Education. Manipal has been one of the institutions that have gone through that process recently. And, you know, they've now completed the accreditation for most of their programs. We have a third game changer that's called Research in Dubai. It's something that we've kicked off very recently. But the idea is that yes, we've been a good hub for teaching and learning, but the next phase of our evolution has to be around R&D. We need our institutions and industry to work together to boost research and innovation. And the final game changer is something that was announced last year, which we're very proud of, and it's a privilege to work on that. It's called the National University of Dubai. So it's a new flagship institution that'll be the centerpiece of this entire puzzle. We're very proud to have all these international campuses, but we also need a strong national anchor at the center of it. And, you know, that's the fourth game changer that we have.
Absolutely.
So these 4 game changers will really help transform the higher education sector. A lot of them are underway already, and we've been working with various institutions on those. But yeah, very excited about these new initiatives.
I think we're just hearing good news. While I was listening to your conversation, I just feel that, I went back into my childhood as a student and I was like, I wish we had all those opportunities back in the day when actually everybody started to think about what do students want? And the entire perspective of wanting to have an education, gaining towards it was a challenge. And you've kept it very simple. So we really want to appreciate that.
Yes. Great.
Absolutely. So with that, the next question that I have is that Dubai continues to attract a growing community of international students every year. So from your perspective, I'd like to ask you this question, sir. What are the key factors drawing global talent to the city? And what initiatives are currently in place to support their journey throughout the higher education?
Yeah. What do students want?
Yes.
Yeah. Or maybe what do students need when they come here to Dubai, and why are they coming here? That is the question that we need to ask as academicians. I think students come here because it's an international educational hub. That is number one. We believe that they'll come here and then they want to acquire good degrees with good education and skills. And second is, of course, they all want to grow. Their career growth is paramount in their minds.
Right.
And then we need to support that. So these two are the North Star for us.
Yeah.
So what we need to do as academicians, and what hopefully we have been doing, is support the students in this. Firstly, as an international campus, how do we behave? We are an Indian institution here in an international setting, so we need to look around and learn, and then
and feel proud.
Be proud and set examples. So that's exactly what we do. Sometimes we have to establish international culture in our own institution, so that the students feel from various cultures come. So intercultural sensitivity and those things become important.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we need strong industry connections, because that is the primary reason. And Dubai, and specifically, and then larger context, UAE, allows this to happen. It's easier to reach out to the industry and provide, let's say, internships, provide direct exposure to the industry.
Right.
And these kind of things we can do very regularly. That is one thing that we need to do. We need to provide career support to the students, because that is one of the serious aspirations that students have when they come here from various international locations. So what we have to do is provide them strong career support,
Yes.
connections with the industry, so that they say, okay, we have come here, we have studied, and we also have a career growth.
Yeah.
So that is something that we need to provide. They come from, again, various places, so need strong support. Unlike in other countries, UAE needs to be more student-centric. That's what I have found when I worked here. They need more support. They need they have needs, their own needs, and they expect. When they come to Dubai, their expectations are also very high. We have to provide that experience. So
Right.
the same kind of experience Dubai provides to everybody else, the students also need. So we have to try and do that. So the student experience, the career support, and of course, this is an international educational hub. That is the first thing that's
Of course.
the most important thing. And then therefore, we need to provide academic delivery and curriculum that is truly of international standards. That is paramount. And that's all the more reason because we have very, very strong international campuses, other campuses. So we are all competing with each other, and then we need to be on top of our game as far as the curriculum and delivery is concerned.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir. So, Dr. Nitesh, just pushing this conversation forward also, you talked about a lot of initiatives earlier, and I would like to know more from a student point of view. If I'm watching this right now, my family is watching, my well-wishers are watching, and I feel that, this environment is conducive to what I want to achieve. What else would they think about which would actually take them forward through this journey as well?
Yeah, sure. No, first of all, I agree with Dr. Sudhindra, on the points that he mentioned. I think there's other factors that pull students to Dubai as well.
Yeah.
I think safety and security.
Correct.
If you talk to parents, and if you look at, unfortunately, what happens in some parts of the Western world, so safety and security has always been, a priority. Dubai is one of the safest cities in the world, and we can count on that.
Touch wood.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the visa regime as well.
Yes.
In the last few years, I think
Yes.
as expats, we've all benefited from the changes in visa regulations, the golden visas for investors, but also for high-performing students. We are working under the City of Students umbrella on a new student visa as well. So, there's something to look forward to.
Right.
It's already very easy to get a student visa here as compared to many other countries. I think employability is really important as well.
Yes.
I spend a lot of time talking to students and parents, in enticing them about, why come to Dubai for education.
Yeah, we'd love to know the details.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think what I've noticed, at least in the last couple of years, is students and parents are really thinking about return on investment. It's not something
Right.
I'd come across before.
Yeah.
In 10, 15 years ago, even 5 years ago, education was just something that you had to do, and especially
Yeah.
in Asian communities, But today, parents are thinking, where can I go where I get a quicker return on my investment?
True.
You have a rapidly growing economy. You have the D33 agenda, so you have the economy growing at a rapid pace, and at the same time, you have a relatively small higher education sector.
Yes.
It's a growing sector. It's growing quite rapidly. So what's happening is it's quickly absorbing the graduates. So students here, once they graduate, are getting good quality jobs.
Yes.
And they're getting them fairly quickly. And I think that's another very important factor for students. Diversity of institutions.
Correct.
We have here the quality of programs. So I would say, Dubai does pull people. At the same time, it's our job as the education sector to let people know of the educational opportunities.
Yes.
We've created something called Study Dubai. It was actually launched just before the pandemic, but got put on hold because of the pandemic. We relaunched it last year. This year, we've done 3 roadshows across India, China, and Central Asia.
Brilliant.
So we've engaged, with thousands of students in
Yes.
these emerging markets, and there's a tremendous interest from students and parents. They've heard about Dubai. Now that they know there are educational opportunities,
Yeah.
And this has resulted in a couple of things. One, in 2024-25, which is the
Yes.
last academic year, we had our best ever year for higher education. So the total growth was 20.4% for the entire sector, which is quite phenomenal. You don't
is.
typically see that in a higher education setting. We also had a growth of 30% in international students that come to Dubai.
Okay.
So today, out of the 42,000 students we have here, 35% are coming from abroad, coming from China, coming from India,
Wow.
coming from Kazakhstan, from parts of Africa.
Yeah.
So this is something that we're very proud of, this diversity, both in terms of institutions, but also in terms of students.
Absolutely. I think diversity, inclusivity, it's the name of the game over here. Now, sir, I'd like to ask you this question. From an academic leadership standpoint, how are global trends influencing the way universities prepare students for an increasingly complex and fast-changing world?
A generation ago, or a couple of generations ago, the world moved slowly.
Yeah.
A student after graduating has about 40 years. In our time, we looked at 30 years. I did not know that I could actually be still working when I started working 35 years ago. So which basically means that the lifespans have increased, rather professional lifespans have increased. And now the next generation, we are looking at about 50 years probably of working after they graduate.
Right.
And we had to reinvent ourselves, or our earlier generations had to reinvent themselves maybe every 25 years or so, which means that their professional lives were over. Our own generation, we had to reinvent ourselves every 10 years or so, which basically means that whatever we were doing, more or less obsolete.
Yes.
And then we had to do something else. Now I think that is fast changing, as you said. Every 5 years, I am sure, 5 to 7 years, things are going to be so different that whatever we teach in the university in terms of knowledge is no more relevant.
Right.
They have to learn all over again something while on the jobs. So what we have to teach in institutions is not just knowledge. Now that is of course there, but we have to teach them how to learn, how to reinvent themselves.
100%.
And it's not about only teaching, preparing them for that. And how do we prepare? How does a person simply pick up while on the job and then starts, let's say, get into a new field that is emerging now, in an allied field, let's say, in whatever they are doing. So they need to have an interdisciplinary mindset. That is number one. Otherwise, they're never there.
Jack of all trades, huh?
Absolutely. At least they should be aware of other things.
Correct.
If you're a liberal arts professional, you need to know about technology, how it is affecting, so that seamlessly they can actually diversify and then move into something else when that change hits them. And they need to be a little more innovative and creative. They can't be straitjacketed. They can't simply do day in and out the same things. So they need to be innovative and creative. So that is something that we need to prepare them for. And we need to build in them the learning abilities. And finally, the skills. The industry also expects skills now.
course.
Industry is less patient with new employees now. Earlier, they would spend 6 months, 1 year to train their new employees because attrition was low. People stayed with them for 10, 15 years. Now, that is not the case. Attritions are also high, so they don't want to spend a lot of time. So they want the students to, the so-called, hit the ground running.
Right.
And if they have to do that, we have to skill them right here so that they are right on the first day they are prepared. So which basically means that we have to build skills in them. We have to make them job ready. This is today much more necessary than it was ever before.
Of course,
I
totally
think these
agree.
are some things that we have to do if we have to prepare students in what you said as fast changing and dynamic world.
Absolutely. So I guess you learn, you unlearn, and then you relearn. So now that we kind of understood the education landscape, that brings me to the future economy. Let's talk a bit about talent and skills, like you just mentioned. So Dr. Nitesh, as we look ahead, what types of skills, or I would say maybe another good word is capabilities, will most essential be used for graduates to meaningfully contribute to the UAE's future economy?
One, we're very blessed in the UAE
Yeah.
that it's a planned city. There's
It is.
you have the 2033 agenda, you have several plans for 2040, you have the 2071 centennial plan for the country as well. So I think for educational institutions, there's clear direction that here are the priority areas for the future.
Yeah.
You also have the Dubai Research Strategy, you have the Future Foundation. So unlike in some other places, we have things that we can look towards
Yeah.
and work towards. Now, when it comes to skills, I was thinking about this question, and I think you can categorize them into three buckets essentially. One, I think the most important are just human skills. There's this conundrum where graduates leave institutions and go into the workforce, and industry tells us that they're not equipped, they're not ready
Yes.
for work. So what is it that you need? I think it's things like resilience, adaptability. As you were saying, you need to equip students with more than just the academic knowledge and understanding. Common skills like presentation skills, communication skills, I think these are really important. So I think the human skills element is very important. I think in addition to that, in today's world, you need digital skills.
Of course.
You can't go without
can't survive
that.
without
It's
it.
your computer skills, it's understanding of the Internet of Things and how we're evolving. Also social media. I think you've got to understand how the world works today.
Yes.
And I think the third is skills around AI literacy. I think that's really important today. We're using AI everywhere. I know at institutions, students, when we were visiting institutions, not this year, but last year, we talked to all institutions and students about, how is AI being used at your university? And you could clearly see that the students had a far better understanding of AI than
Right.
perhaps some of the faculty. And I know that's evolved and institutions have created
Yeah.
policies around that. But AI is being used everywhere. It's in the workplace, it's in kids' classrooms, it's in our daily lives. And so I think the AI literacy skills will continue to be important.
Yes.
I think, I would also add, the topic around ethics as well, especially with more, increased use of AI, with generative AI. So
Yes.
I think we need to be conscious. We need to, have the right balance.
Right.
And I think that's why, a balance between the human skills and the digital AI skills
Right.
is what will really help students, but will also help us in life. These are just skills that we need to learn. And there's one more thing that we're working on, which I personally think is very important. I think is financial literacy. When I reflect back, no one really taught us
Yes.
what to do with money. We
It's so
didn't know
true.
the difference between savings, investments,
That's
creating
correct.
wealth. And I think in today's generation, I have a 7-year-old, she thinks money comes out of a phone. So I think it's really important to
Were we
teach-
all raised by the same parents and grandparents? Please tell me.
So-
because it's all so familiar.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I think it's really important to teach kids, financial literacy. And
Yeah.
we're actually working on a program at KHDA where this will be, right from grassroots levels, from
Right.
Early childhood all the way through schools and
Yeah.
universities. Where does money come from? How do you use it? How do you budget? How do you
Doesn't
save?
grow on trees.
Yeah, exactly,
Yes.
exactly. And in fact, that was the campaign. It was
Yeah.
called "Money Doesn't Grow on
Grow on
Trees."
trees. There you
And that
go.
was the campaign.
Yeah.
We had people come in. We had kids come in, talk to us about their understanding of money.
Right.
So I would add that skill as well. But I really think it's human and digital skills that we need to focus on.
I love it. So I host shows on the radio, and the other day I got a message from my listener, and he sent me a link of his song that he made through AI. And then another listener of mine texted me, and she said, I just made a video and it's all AI. Now, everyone's utilizing AI according to their own platforms, and I absolutely love it. Well, that reminds me, again, maybe we were born in the wrong era. Yes, we'll think about that. So next question for you is that since we're talking about this, universities globally are, I would say, rethinking curriculum and assessment. So what direction is higher education moving towards in terms of future skills development?
For one is, of course, making sure that our students are industry ready through skills, and then therefore we need certifications. Industry should certify our students that you are actually now skilled.
Yeah.
So that is one way we introduce a lot of certifications. I think most universities do that to either a little less or more. That is something that we feel is very important. Industry connections, field trips, and internships, these equip students a lot in terms of skills.
Yes.
Next is, of course, the way we actually teach also has changed, because now we are more interested in skill building. The pedagogy itself is now more lab-based, project-based. We use simulations and other experiential learning platforms to make sure that students actually do while learning.
Right.
So that's critical for them to be skilled at what they're learning. So these are some things. Even in assessments, we have changed a lot in assessment methodologies also. A large number of our assessments are now project-based, and project-based has a number of advantages. One is, of course, they work in groups. And then therefore that also builds, it's not just about being skilled at what you do.
Right.
You have to be also, as Dr. Nitesh very rightly brought out, you need to have human skills, you need to have communication. Communication is not just about speaking to an audience, but it's also how you speak to each other in a workplace.
Yeah.
So they learn that during their group work during projects and others. So projects have a very, very holistic skill development aspects to it. So that is something that we do a lot. So
Right.
assessments have also changed. We no more have the only the paper and pen examinations.
Yeah.
We have a variety of things. We have lab-based assessments. We have simulation-based assessments and so on. So these are some things that are building skills, and we are constantly in touch with industry. That is something so important for us, so that we know what is industry expecting.
Fantastic.
So industry connections are critical. So these are some ways in which we are making sure that our students are always skilled.
Right. You talked about connections. That brings me to partnerships, right? So, Dr. Nitesh, how do you see partnerships between, say, industry and higher education evolving so that graduates remain aligned with real-world needs and opportunities?
Yeah, great question. I think it's a very timely question as
Yeah.
well. I think if we're being real, we need to move from just engagement to actual co-creation.
Yeah.
We need to move from just collecting MOUs to getting things done. And I think that's, these things take time.
Yeah.
The entire sector is less than 25 years old. A lot of institutions have been here anywhere between 10 and 15 years. So it takes time to develop that. Also, at the same time, Dubai has been growing, industry has been growing. You have many more multinationals that have set up here.
Yes.
So I think it's really time to co-create now. You've got to find the right partners in industry that want to work with you.
Yes.
I mean, if they complain about the quality of graduates, they should be helping us create curriculum, build in the skills, the skill sets that they expect and
Yes.
require. I think joint research and activity, if you look at everywhere else in the world, universities typically work with government and industry
Yes.
to create innovation, to promote entrepreneurship. So I think we're at a point now where our institutions are maturing, the sector is maturing, and I think we need to connect them together. And, there are some initiatives that are helping us achieve that, but really it's shifting from engagement to action.
Yes,
and
that's
I think
true.
that's what we need to focus on. at
I
the
agree.
moment.
And also, I feel that, earlier on, do you remember that quote that critics can't be
Yeah.
creators? I do feel they can now, because if you can have a critique on something, you can co-create also. You just have the right kind of perception for it. So collaborations, you've got connections, you've got partnerships, and you get to co-create.
I mean, there's potential for joint research. There's potential for, greater internships,
Yes.
as Dr. Sudhindra mentioned. placement opportunities, working with institutions so that,
Yes.
you create the types of graduates that you can then take into the workforce. But also going beyond that. And I know a lot of universities have advisory boards.
Yes.
They have partners, they have sponsors for their labs. So we're seeing increasing activity in that space. But I think there's much more potential for collaboration between universities and industry. And I would also say between university and government.
Yes.
When government goes out and commissions research and works with people, they should be looking to universities as well to say, could you help us with this, with solving
Of
this particular
course.
problem that we have?
Absolutely. I think any kind of help and support definitely does matter. So, Dr. Sudhindra, I'd like to ask you a question. You mentioned a word, and I just kind of had this in my mind, experiential learning, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. It's gaining momentum worldwide. So how do you see it shaping student readiness for real-world challenges in the years ahead?
Real world challenges are messy. And
Not so pretty, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of us have played this game called root beer game when we were doing our graduations, and then we see that how quickly things can go out of control and absolutely doesn't work the way textbooks tell us that they'll work.
Yes.
And then therefore, field experience is absolutely necessary. We can either take students to the field and provide them the experience. That is one form of experiential learning that we all do that. And of course, sometimes it's not possible, and then therefore we have to bring the field to the classrooms.
Yes.
And that is sometimes in-class experiential learning that we indulge in, and that these are things like case studies, things like simulations, things like lab experiments. Not just lab experiments, even subjects like game theories. We have experiments done on the ground with people. Our students conduct these experiments and learn for themselves how things finally happen.
Right.
So these kind of things that they make students understand that yes, there is a theory that this is how things are supposed to work, and then how does that theory actually translate into practice?
Right.
So that connection and how it's not an exact science, especially the management theories are not exact science, and then when they're implemented in real world, how they actually can surprise them. So they have to learn this, and then they have to be prepared. And this, going back to our earlier conversation, this prepares them better for the industry when they
Of
land
course.
there. Because
True.
industry needs them to understand straight away on day one how they can function.
Yes.
So that these kind of experiential learning basically prepare the students to work in the real life from day one. Nowadays, you can see that up to 30 to 40% of our learning now is experiential.
Yes.
Earlier, it used to be 10%, 20%. So that proportion is depending
It
on
is a
the
major
field.
shift, of course.
There's a major shift, but all the fields in general have more and more experiential learning.
Of course. So moving on, Dr. Nitesh, the next question I have for you is, since we're talking about bold shifts,
Yep.
let's direct that towards you. So what bold shifts do you feel that higher education should embrace over the next decade to stay ahead of evolving talent and industry needs?
I'll start where he just finished. I think AI integrated learning.
Yes.
I think that's going to be really important, in curriculum, in assessments,
Yeah.
in teaching methodologies. Kids in today's generation are learning in a way that's very different to the way we learned.
Yeah.
For me, even as a parent, it's very hard to understand how they teach in the classroom today.
Yes.
They have no textbooks. A lot of it is digital. It's very practical oriented. And I think it's
Yes.
great that they're doing that because that's the world that they're going to live in.
Of course.
So I think AI integrated learning, is going to be very important. I think personalized learning as well. I think each student wants to learn in a particular way. You mentioned, a multidisciplinary approach or interdisciplinary approach. I think that's going to be very important. If you also look at the way we live today, our attention span is very short.
Yes.
We read the news, on X in a certain number of characters.
Correct.
We're watching videos on Instagram and TikTok and other social
got
media
YouTube
platforms.
Shorts now and Reels
Yeah,
have a
YouTube
certain
Shorts,
duration.
and the Reels, they're all. So I think this concept of learning on the go, learning, when you're in the car, you're listening to a podcast or to your radio channel. I think it's important that we revolutionize education in a way
Yes.
that's adaptable to the current generation. I think lifelong learning is going to be important. We said earlier, and we actually did a report earlier this year on the future of work. And every 5 or 6 years, you're going to have to upskill and reskill.
Yeah.
So you'll need a mechanism for continuous learning,
Yes.
for lifelong learning. I also think things like micro-credentials and stackable credits will be important.
Yeah.
Why do we need a 4-year degree or a 3-year degree? Can we earn it along the way whilst we're also getting, some important work experience? So I think there's going to be major shifts in the education sector. Student facilities and also, student experience
Yes.
is going to be very important. They have certain expectations. As you mentioned, when they come to Dubai, the expectations are already very
Yes,
high.
that's so
we're going to have to
true.
live up to that. I
Yes.
mean, we're fortunate to have some of the best student accommodation in the world and some, world-class facilities. But I think, we have to keep up to those standards as well.
Yeah.
And then finally, I think as we've talked quite a bit on the show, I think industry collaboration, research, innovation, and entrepreneurship, I think these are going to be cornerstones for the
Yeah.
future of education.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so very much. We had such an interesting and engaging discussion on the way forward in education and employability. But now, as you look at me and feel, what am I throwing up next? We have a bit of a segment. It's called This and That. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 statements and you have to select the one that you prefer, either this or that. And both of you have to answer, all right? Teacher-led versus student-driven learning.
I have to say student-driven.
Yeah, the same, absolutely. Student-driven learning. Yeah.
All right, IQ versus EQ. That's a tough one.
I have to choose, is it?
Yes,
Not
this
one.
or that.
Oh, then I will go with EQ.
EQ.
I think both, but if I had to pick one, I would say EQ. In
EQ.
today's world, yeah.
Yes, I 100% agree with you. Artificial intelligence versus human intelligence.
I think human intelligence that masters artificial intelligence.
That's a smart one. He's a smart cookie. He plays around with the words, huh? I like the way he thinks.
He chose
Yes.
both.
Yes, he did, huh?
Yeah.
What about
I
you?
think I'll go with human intelligence.
All right. Hybrid learning versus on-campus learning.
I'm still a big fan of on-campus learning.
Yeah, same here.
I will go with hybrid learning. I have no option. As a
Really?
university, we have to do that.
You guys said something which
disagreed
is
on
different from each other. I would give a huge round of applause for this. No, but gentlemen, it was such a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. But on a sharp note, okay, I would like to ask, before we let you go, Dr. Nitesh, I would like to ask you, it's a bit of a, I would say, a tricky question. What's that one misconception or habit that we must leave behind when preparing students to be future ready?
I think I mentioned this earlier. I would say academic excellence is not enough.
Yeah.
It has to be your degree plus plus.
Yeah.
And the plus plus are the skills, your understanding of the world, some life experience.
Yeah.
So I think just producing graduates with, the knowledge is not enough anymore.
Yes, I 100% agree with him, yes. So Dr. Sudhindra, the flip side, what is that one essential practice you believe that we should prioritize when it comes to making students future ready?
It would be making them learn rather than teaching. I think that is the way to go. We still haven't mastered it. We
Yeah.
keep talking about it. I think we need to do it in the real earnestness, because learning by the students, student-driven learning, is far, far superior to teaching.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Sudhindra and Dr. Nitesh. It was such an insightful conversation. We really appreciate it, and we hope that you would come back again soon. Thank you for joining
Thank you.
us.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Likewise. At MAHE Dubai, we truly believe that education isn't just about preparing for the future, it's about creating it. I'm Sophia Anjam, and this has been Beyond Boundaries. Till next time, keep learning, keep leading, and keep building the UAE of tomorrow. Thank you for watching.